QBs, episode 277. We are back after a week hiatus. Is everybody recovering from Chicago?
Ooh,
it's good to see you guys. I'm surrounded by royalty. If our listeners don't know, congrats to all you three in Chicago being elected to various positions of importance. I hope our listeners know just how important the people are that run this pod.
VVIPs.
What are you, chopped liver?
I'm nothing. I am the peanut gallery from Philadelphia.
He's past VIP.
Yes.
Yeah.
I'm past
It's just us young ones who are
right.
Yes.
coming
That's
up.
right. That's right. All right, guys, let's get to it. Who's everybody bringing to the bar? House, why don't we start with you since you're the past VVIP?
I am bringing two people to the bar. I am bringing Mike Gansey, the general manager of the Philadelphia 76ers, and Dave Dombrowski, the general manager of the Philadelphia Phillies. And I'm going to ask that Mr. Gansey remove that special potion that he has in his pocket that rids you of Paul George, gets you Jaylen Brown and LeBron James, and then puts that potion into Dave Dombrowski's drink, who is just rearranging chairs on the deck of the Titanic and is now putting Bryson Stott at third and Alec Boehm at first and Bryce Harper in right field so we can get a guy that slaps singles every other inning.
It's a championship lineup.
Wow, interesting. It felt like there was a lot more optimism last night.
I'm interested to hear, once we get to our baseball aficionado, if you think it meant a hill of beans.
All right. We'll get there then. Rooster, what about you?
I, too, am bringing two people to the bar. Two of my all-time faves when we talk about these things, Brian Cashman and Aaron Boone.
Again?
I plan on poisoning both of them, and that's all I have to say.
Okay.
Same thing.
Pope, what about you?
Didn't have much time to think about it, but I think I'm going to bring the baseball commish to the bar because, boy, does he have some problems on his hand, and we'll talk about him extensively. But I don't know what he could possibly drink that's going to make the problem go away as troubles loom next year. So I want to hear if he has a solution that'll keep the owners at bay.
Well, that was who I was going to bring to the bar.
Oh, sorry.
As well, because for exactly the same reasons, and we'll talk about that. But I do have a backup, and I can't wait to see House's reaction. But
with Luis Garcia.
Yeah, I have to bring him. I mean, again, he's my backup on this. But
more money on Kalshi. It's amazing.
The reason, well, look, here's the thing. Garcia was drafted by the Nats when he was a teenager, and he made his debut in August of 2020. I think he was 20 years old at the time. And he was kind of looked at as a big, hitting prospect, but not really a power hitter guy. But, you think about these guys, and I read this from one of the Nats beat writers, Mark Zuckerman, who wrote it. It's really kind of a nice tribute. I mean, he was a child when he got drafted. I think he was 16, 17 years old when the Nats drafted him. And he's only been with the organization. And he's gotten to the point now where he was the last guy on the roster linked to the World Series team. He didn't play. He wasn't on the roster in 19, but he came up in 20 the year after. He's the last guy linked to those guys like Soto and Turner and Howie Kendrick and all those guys, Scherzer and Strasburg, Zimmerman, all them. And he really developed not just into the NL's leading slugger at the time he was traded, but a real clubhouse leader too. And it's just kind of, it was a nice read, interesting, guy who's been with the franchise for almost 10 years, grew up entirely in the franchise, and now is, figured out how to hit with some power, got himself traded, and, bittersweet for him. But certainly a big part of the Nats family. So I'll bring him for a drink.
I'll be interested to visit that when we get to the
Glad to hear you
segment.
feel so highly of him.
Yeah, we'll talk about him. All right, Rooster, tell us about our sponsors.
Okay, we want to thank our three sponsors: Digital Law Marketing, which makes websites for law firms and is fantastic. Assembly, which creates software case management systems for law firm, also fantastic. We use both of these companies, and our pals at Injury Board, who are the premier plaintiff law firm networking organization in the country. You'll hear more about these sponsors at the end of the show, and you can check them out on our website, which is smqbs.net.
All right. Thanks to those guys. Well, we are recording this. It's 5:05 Eastern time on trade deadline day. We got 55 minutes left. A lot to talk about. I'm not even sure where we should start. But I guess, should we just start with the Dodgers? I mean, the evilest empire of all time, and what they've done with acquiring Skubal.
I mean, they're bringing about the end of baseball, so why not?
Yeah. So, I mean, I think everybody knows that at this point that the Dodgers did trade for probably the best pitcher available and one of the, what is he, two-time Cy Young, reigning back-to-back Cy Young winner. Had a little bit of injury this year, but seems to have weathered that, come back stronger than at the beginning of the season. He's looking great right now. I don't even know what they gave up. I mean, a couple prospects, I guess, but as our friend Milk pointed out, they don't even think of them as prospects in LA at this point. They're chips. They're just trade chips, right? That when they start developing these guys, they're planning on just giving them away so that they
cannon
can
fodder
trade guys. Yeah, I mean, exactly. So I don't know. What's there to say? Is this, I don't even think there's a question of if it's good for baseball. I mean, the Dodgers are back-to-back series champions, and there's only the Phillies can stop them.
Put it in perspective. What are we looking at for their rotation now?
Oh my God. I mean, where do we begin? Who's going to start? Do you go Ohtani? Do you go Snell? Do you go Yamamoto? Do you go...
mean the defending World Series MVP?
Did you guys know this whole thing about the exemption for the Dodgers and their TV revenue?
Right. That's the one legitimate point that the Dodger haters have, I think. Because I think it's more of a nuanced issue, but you're right. This is not fair to them. And the reason that they got it is because 15 years ago they were bankrupt.
Yeah, so
well,
the
explain
McCourty
it. Why don't you
family
explain it? Yeah.
Yeah, so the McCourty family, who owned the Dodgers before the current ownership, went bankrupt. And the Dodgers are a crown jewel of Major League Baseball, and baseball didn't want that to happen. And so as part of the reorganization and the resetting of the Dodgers were given a single exemption that no other Major League Baseball team has, which is they keep all their TV revenue for themselves. Every other team has to put it in the pot, but not the Dodgers. So you're in whatever, the number 2 largest metropolitan fan base in the country, maybe behind New York, and you keep all the television revenue all to yourself. That combined with this continued deferment of salary, which is now far in excess of $1 billion. Look, I get what some people say, including my own, Bryce Harper said it in this past offseason or whatever, maybe the year before when they got Shohei. It was like, well, what's the big deal? They got owners who are willing to spend. Some people are saying that part of the problem in baseball is not the top, the Dodgers willing to spend their money. It's the bottom, and the teams like Pittsburgh and Cincinnati and Tampa and other teams where the owners have tons of money and they won't put it on the field. They won't put on a competitive team.
That's been an ongoing problem.
Huge.
Your son is right. I think your son is right. You're speaking of the Shohei Ohtani deferment, which is like $750 million or $700 million deferred. But he and his agent offered that same deal to the Angels and every other team with whom they were negotiating. It's the Dodgers who took him up on it. The Dodgers are the only ones who landed Skubal when there were other teams that should have gotten him because they had more to offer, including the Brewers, who could have had Miz and Skubal as their 2 A-plus aces. Imagine that. But you're 100% right about this special deal they got. It's time for that to end. And, the Yankees share their market with the Mets, which is a pretty popular team. Nobody in LA gives a damn about the Angels. So it's the Dodgers that probably have more revenue to keep than the Yankees would. And that's just not fair anymore. And that needs to change. And I agree with you. I think there needs to be a salary floor, not a salary cap.
Well, I think you have both.
I think there's going to be a call for both.
Yeah, the owners want the cap because they're greedy. But the sport needs a floor so that teams like the Reds, the Pirates, and others are relevant.
Well,
there's a reason that the Brewers are able to be in a playoff team with a little bit of amount they spend. They're in a division with people who don't spend any money.
Cubs are spending
a little bit, but they have a budget. They don't have a Braves, Phillies, Yankees, Dodgers budget.
But Detroit.
I mean, Bison.
Go ahead, House.
I want to ask you about the DC area teams. I mean, obviously you know everything about the Nationals, but I think you know quite a bit about the Orioles too. So you've got two teams. The Nationals are not that far removed from a pretty great run with some great players. The Orioles got really, really close. And why did their ownership of these two teams abandon the taste of greatness? Like, why?
Well, the O's are a little bit of they're both different stories, right? So the Orioles were owned forever by Peter Angelos, and then Peter died. And at the end there, he wasn't really even paying attention to the team. And so they're just now, I think this is the first season of the new owner. And they had gone out and they had invested in the team. They made trades. They tried to build the team up a little bit. They just weren't winning this year. I mean, they're not making the playoffs. They're under 500. They've disappointed. I think, they've got a lot of good young players on that team who are going to be around for a little while. So I think if they had
an opportunity, Adley Rutschman one of them?
No. In fact, Rutschman is probably on the 16th hole of his career. Maybe that's a little harsh, but he's definitely on the back nine. And in fact, they have a stud catcher who he was sharing some time with this year. So they're actually pretty well positioned at the catcher spot. That trade, I mean, they fleeced the Red Sox in that trade from what it looks like. I mean, that's kind of a no-brainer trade once the offer's out there. Somebody said this is one of those trades where you go, well, there's no way they would trade that guy because they'd have to get so much back for him and nobody's going to pay that. Well, Boston was willing to pay it. And so I think it's like one of those things you say, okay, well, listen to everything. I mean, you could probably come up with a crazy ass package where the Phillies would trade Harper, right? It would just be a crazy ass package. It'd have to be, but you get to a point where the GM says, yeah, I've got to do that. I think that's what happened with Rutschman. The Nats.
Don't you think Rutschman was coming back though into form before he broke his wrist?
He's a good player. I mean, he's going to make a difference in Boston. Yeah, definitely. But I think the fact that they had his replacement on the roster already, and he was getting, I don't know how he was doing this year. He's like 20 years old. He's really young, but he was in the majors. I think that probably played into it. That and just a ridiculous haul. The Nationals are a different situation. We're going to find out about the Nats now. And I'm waiting to see that they trade Foster Griffin. He's the only one who hasn't been traded yet that I kind of thought they would. We'll see about that. The Nats had this battle with the Orioles, and it does go back to TV, right? When the Nationals came to Washington, Major League Baseball, to appease Peter Angelos, let the Orioles have all the TV revenue in some sort of sharing agreement with Washington. I really believe that the learners who own the Nats kind of, stuck their thumb in their nose in the air and said, until you fix this, Major League Baseball, we're not going to invest in the team. So fuck off. And when you look at the guys on the team, Wood and Abrams, those were part of the Soto trade. That's looking pretty good right now. I mean, given that they didn't think they'd be able to re-sign him. He was a Boris client. Boris doesn't do extensions while under contract. He always tests the market. Boy, you got to look at that and say that was a pretty good trade. Now, if there's a fire sale, which I don't think we're going to see, yeah, then it's going to be frustrating. If they trade CJ Abrams, I'll be pretty frustrated then.
Well, I'll tell you, the overpay that Boston made to get Rutschman should tell you what a terrible job the Tigers did in their deal. I mean, you talk about if you put up a good player, eventually you're going to find someone who will overpay. The Phillies had this outstanding young pitcher. You might remember this guy who was lights out that won the College World Series for Arkansas named Gage Wood. Gage Wood and Justin Crawford. And there was another, like, we're talking guys that are already in the majors or just about to make the majors who are super, super talented. And that was offered to the Tigers. And they didn't even take one of the top 6 of the Dodgers prospects. I do not understand this for the life of me. Apparently the Rays were in the mix too. The Rays had a really nice offer on the table to get Skubal. I don't understand. Again, this begs the question of, is it about money? Is it about like, well, if you replace it with really good players, then you end up in the same place you're going to be for Skubal? Because if they really do turn out well, you're going to have to spend the money. Which brings me to something interesting that I heard today. I had kind of forgotten this or maybe didn't even really know it, but in the previous stoppages in baseball in the 80s and 2008, when the players were locked out, the Major League Baseball Players Association brought suit against the owners because they were locked out. And as part of the litigation, they were able to take discovery of the owners. And, you know, that helped to be a chip because the owners don't want their dirty laundry aired. So that will be interesting too. Like if we find out that through all of this, when they're complaining about how much the players are making, is it really about that? Or is it really about the owners are sitting on a gold mine and just aren't willing to spend their money?
It's the latter. It's a very short-sighted view given how well the league has done in the last couple of years.
Totally. Everything they've been doing has been right. Okay, we can knock the ghost runner, but the pitch clock and the home run derby and the television ratings and the seats, the seats in the stands. People are putting their seats. They're showing up to baseball games again. Even teams that are struggling and sometimes their season's over by June. They're putting a product out there. Of course, now with interleague play being a chance to see players no matter what. You're in the National League, you want to see the stars from the Yankees. I was in Chicago this past weekend when it was Cubs Yankees. Oh my God, that city was teeming with Yankees fans.
Well, and they'd been there for the White Sox before that. They're there a full week.
What is baseball doing?
They're stupid. They're just stupid.
One thing though, back to Detroit, Detroit's a top 10 payroll team. Now I don't know how it totally lines up because of some of the deferments, but right now they've got the 10th highest payroll in baseball. So the Skubal trade, I don't totally understand what that's all about because they
also
look like
had a shot
invested.
at the wild card still.
Right.
This year. And so they gave him away for
peanuts.
If they had just waited until today, they probably would have gotten a better deal.
Right.
I don't get it.
But here's the other crazy one. The Mets, who we say every year at the beginning of the season, the Mets are going to Met, like the Jets are going to Jet. The Mets have whatever, number 2 or 3 payroll, $350 million or something like that. They are in a total fire sale right now. They're just moving. They just moved Clay Holmes. They've moved like 3 or 4 pitchers today. There's talk, they want to move on from Bichette already. I don't know if that's going to happen by 6 o'clock.
Holy smokes.
But boy, oh boy, the Mets. I mean,
who picked up Clay Holmes?
Did he go to the Cubs or did he go? Let me just see. This just happened just moments ago. Clay Holmes has been Chicago Cubs. Yeah.
He was lights out for the Yankees for a couple years in a row.
He's very, very good.
Yeah, I wish we could get him back. My comments earlier about the NL Central and how everyone thinks Milwaukee's such a darling. And my point is they're competing with Pittsburgh, St. Louis, and Cincinnati all three of whom spend no money, and the Cubs, who are spending money but not in the highest echelon. It makes me, against everything that I stand for right now, want to compliment the Rays.
Boy, don't even.
They're doing the same thing with probably about the same amount of money in a division that includes the Yankees, the Red Sox, and the former AL champs, the Jays. What the Rays are doing this year is very impressive.
All right, enough of that.
All right,
let me just say
you're welcome, Milk.
It's ridiculous.
My Venmo account number is
Milk loves baseball.
So it's
Again?
so interesting. You know what it takes to build the proper lineup that lets you win in the postseason. The Phillies have been anemic. They're one of the lowest hitting teams in slugging and OPS. Even though there was a run for a while for Schwarber and Harper, they've cooled off. So the move that Dombrowski, which I alluded to at the top, Dombrowski felt like what he really wanted was a right-handed bat that just got on base. Instead, he opted for a left-handed bat in Luis Arraez, who is leading the National League, batting .324 batting average. He can only play second base. You can't move him anywhere else. So now you've brought in Arraez to play second. You've moved Bryson Stott over to third, Alec Boehm over to first, Bryce Harper, who's not played in the outfield since 2022, to right field. Even Mattingly says we're going to have to ease him into that. I don't even know what that means. If he's going to platoon, you have to have Harper and Schwarber in the lineup every single night. So how do you ease someone into it? He either takes the field or doesn't. You're not going to. Schwarber cannot take the field, so Schwarber has to DH. So I don't know. Yes, is it nice that we've got the leading hitter in the National League and Arraez in the lineup? Yeah, if you lead off with Arraez and you put Turner second, does it give better protection to Harper with Schwarber batting fourth? Maybe. I don't know. I got to tell you, Philly's not that excited about this move.
Yeah, I don't blame you. You know, the one exciting thing about your favorite player, Bison Luis Garcia, is he's coming home to play for the Yankees. He grew up there in New York City.
No, a little lasso.
I think he's excited about it. But it's also kind of an imperfect situation for the Yankees. We have all the guys hurt on our team, include all our best right-handed power hitters, Judge and the Gimp.
I don't
Stanton.
Again,
I don't know where he's going to play.
He's a lefty, you know.
Where's he going to play in the
DH.
field?
He'll probably have to DH.
I don't get the Garcia move. I've never been a Nationals. I don't like to call them the Nationals. I call them the Expos because that's really their origin. But if I'm an Expos fan, I don't know. I'm like 2.5 games out of a wild card. I've got some nice young pitching, some surprising things happening on my team. I'm ahead of schedule. I've got two of the top players in the National League in Abrams and Wood. I've now got this guy leading in slugging percentage. We are knocking on the door. You don't even know if there's going to be a season next year. What are we doing? It's not my home team. I'm from the cheap seats. What are we doing trading this guy away?
Well,
I don't get that either.
I'm very curious to see what he does the rest of this season and next season, because this is an anomaly year for him. All right, this is, and not even an anomaly year. All his sluggings happened since June. He did not start off April and May hitting like this. Now, maybe he figured something out. I think that, look, if you're not going to have a season next year and he's only under control for another 2 years, then it's probably not a bad idea to get rid of him and get some guys who are under control. But the other part of it too is, if you look at what this group of coaches has done with Abrams, Wood always had the power, Curtis Mead, Garcia, they apparently know how to teach guys to hit for power. And they've got some good prospects, including a couple guys who the Rangers sent over for Mackenzie Gore. How's that trade working out? That they feel pretty good about.
Inconsistency at best.
Yeah. So I don't know. I mean, listen, I hear the argument. I get it. I think it's a fair argument. And you could second guess this for sure, but I am going to be curious to see if Garcia keeps this up. He's a good hitter, but this is not who he's always been. It's not even close.
Like, what do you like about what you got in exchange? Jake Bird came over last year when we got 3 relievers at one time. He pitched twice and he got sent to the minors.
Yeah,
it was so bad.
Not Bird. Bird is not who we like in that trade. I mean, that's not the guy that you look to.
It's the Cruz guy, right?
It's
what's his
Giovanni?
name?
No, it's
Giovanni Cruz and Ben Grable.
I think Siebert is probably
Who's the reliever?
Well, Cruz is the guy who's the 100-mile-an-hour, fastball guy who will probably pitch right away in the bullpen for the Nats. And Grable could be a look. You got to think. One thing to think about these arms that are in the bullpen. Baseball's changed, right? You have a starting pitcher goes through the lineup twice and is out. So there's a lot of value in middle relievers at this point. That's different.
They're not even setup guys anymore. They're just like middle relievers.
Right.
Grable and Siebert are Double-A this year, though. They're not even.
I will say that the flip side of the coin, there was a stat, we might have even said it on the pod, a few weeks ago, if the Nationals held like even half of their leads late in the game, they'd be the best team in Major League Baseball. Their problem has not been getting on base or hitting or whatever. They've led in most of their games and then collapsed at the end of nearly 8 out of 10 games. And so if this trade results in an immediate bolstering on the back end of their pitching staff in the bullpen, middle, late relief, it could make a difference. But I don't know. We'll see. I'm still waiting for the Mike Trout tweet.
I know you are. Is it coming?
Before we leave, I know that Rooster said, the exemption is one thing that really gives the Dodgers an unfair advantage. But, I mean, are we not going to address, at least going into next year, the deferred compensation? The Dodgers have $1.1 billion in deferred salaries. $680 million, that's Ohtani. But you know who's next in deferred salary behind the Dodgers?
It's something like 182 or something like that million.
It's the Nets.
Yeah.
They're at 118 million deferred. That's it.
It's all Scherzer.
There's $1 billion difference. I mean, that is an unfair advantage. The ability for them to do that. You look at the deferred salaries for the Dodgers. Rooster, you and I are going to be in our 80s before they finish paying out their obligations now. Think about that. Something needs to be done about that.
Yeah, unfortunately, we're going to have a lot of time, I think, to talk about the economics of baseball. Let's just end it here. Who does everybody think comes out of the trade deadline as maybe not the favorite because the Dodgers are out there, but who's now a major World Series contender that wasn't before the trade deadline?
National League goes through the Phillies, baby.
Stop.
If you get Trout, it does.
If we get Trout, there's 30 minutes to go. Apparently Trout gets to decide. He's got a no trade. He's from the Philly area, but he made a statement the other day saying he'd rather wait around and bring, playoff glory to the Angels, which is the dumbest thing ever.
That's a dumb thing. Yeah.
I look, they were already well on their way. I think the Red Sox are really.
That's my winner.
That Rutschman is a really nice.
I think the Red Sox are the team I fear the most coming out of the American League.
But the Rays made some nice. The Rays
pretty
made some
amazing
nice moves too.
Now.
I think Peralta can fix things around. They picked up a catcher too. The Rays had some nice moves too because they have all kinds of money. So stop crying poor milk. It's a joke. I guess we'll see over the next. Losers are definitely the Mets and the Giants. The Padres picked up. They picked up a nice little piece too. It might be too little, too late. But the Padres will make some noise. Let's see who the Padres got.
The Pirates were pretty aggressive.
Oh yeah, the Padres got Robbie Ray.
Yeah, from the Giants.
Yeah.
I mean, one team we haven't even mentioned yet, and I bring him up because DeGrom evidently was potentially on his way to the Braves, and he invoked his no trade clause, said he wants to stay in Texas. I'm not sure why, but the Braves are on a heater right now, and they haven't done really anything to bolster their rotation or get a bat.
Yeah,
They made some trade.
Yeah, they got a guy from Kansas City, but I'm not. He's going to platoon potentially with Yastrzemski in left, but they really could use another arm.
Well,
and
I'm just surprised one time
that
a talk
not
about both
doing that.
About both DeGrom and Wyatt Langford moving, but I don't think either of them are going to happen.
No, the Rangers have said they're standing pat, other than trying to ship DeGrom, and he invoked his no trade. But I'm just surprised. I think the Braves, Toby, they were 2 games up on Philly at one point. It looked like Philly was just going to steamroll them. And now
we
back
went 3-10 after, and then we picked up a couple wins. But they've been very
back
good
to 8 games.
Yeah, they're one of the top 3 teams since the All-Star break. I think just behind the Red Sox. They're Braves.
And they're basically standing pat, which to me is a kind of a surprise.
Well, it's going to be very interesting. There's still a lot of time left. I'm not sure. I still don't understand why there's no reporting about Foster Griffin being even available. Maybe the Nats have said he's not available, but I know he got hit hard in Atlanta on Friday or Saturday. But before that, he'd gone, would you say, Pope, 8 games in a row, giving up 1 run or less?
8 games in a row with giving up 1 run or less.
Yeah. And
his ERA was down in the low 2s.
But I just haven't seen anything anywhere about him even being rumored. So we'll see. 30 minutes to go or so. All right. Anything else on baseball? No? Well, we got to talk about the GOAT, right, House? Going to Philly?
Wait, Jordan's coming back to play?
Say it, House.
Oh my God.
I mean, this is what I will say. I think he adds significant artillery to the debate if he gets 4 championships with 4 different teams. Okay. And I read something very, very interesting today, which I never knew. Jordan's last championship was at age 35.
Yeah, 98.
LeBron's last championship was at age 35. LeBron has not had one since the 2020 Lakers COVID bubble.
Yeah. Bubble tournament.
If he is the new Moses Malone of the Sixers, the missing piece, and at 42 gets a championship and is an active player in it, I think the GOAT debate gets a lot harder. And here's one other thing I will say about the GOAT debate. When Jordan came back, he became part owner of the Wizards. He became part owner, played a couple seasons. They didn't make the playoffs. Kind of went out with a little bit of a deflation as a player.
It was ugly.
Ugly.
Think about at age 41 what the NBA was contorting themselves into to get LeBron James at 41 years old. That to me is mind-blowing. I can't think of an athlete that's like that in any major sport that someone wants them that bad at this stage of their career.
Brady.
How about Messi?
I guess Brady. Yeah.
What about Messi? You don't think
Messi.
someone would want Messi?
Well, Messi's like 36, right?
39.
No,
39?
39.
Okay. All right.
Mm-hmm. Well, let's talk about the impact we think it's going to have on the Sixers. I think it could go one of 2 ways. The LeBron haters out there are going to say, well, this could be just like when 2014 to 2016 he went back to the Cavs and they had the best record in the NBA, and he nonetheless torpedoed the career of Dave Blatt, the coach, the guy the Euro League coach that they thought was going to be the next best coach. LeBron and his team just didn't like him, and that was the end of him. Or you could argue that he's older now, he's more mature, and he just wants to win another championship and is willing to fit in and do whatever it takes. I happen to be in the second camp. I think that's what's going to happen. I think he's going to work with Embiid and the young stars on that team and just do what he needs to do to plug the gap. But he does have a bit of a history of trying to usurp the coaches and creating a little problem on the team. What do you guys think is going to happen?
I mean,
championship or bust.
It is championship or bust. And that's another thing. I cannot think of a team that was, I mean, I guess right now the Dodgers, and it happened last year and they did it. I can't think of a team that's been made into a mega team where there's only one outcome that counts. It's not even losing the finals. It has to be winning it all. Forget it.
That was the Heat. That was the Heat with the big three, and the Warriors when Durant was on the team.
That's true.
But they had time. The Heat lost their first opportunity to the Mavs in 2011 before they went on their run. I mean, y'all don't have the luxury of time with LeBron.
No, we do not.
That's right.
But Rooster hit the nail on the head in that the biggest pressure in all of this, it's not on Embiid, it's not on whether Maxey can manage all this, because everybody agrees, even LeBron, it's Maxey's team. It's not Embiid's team. This team has become Maxey's team. But what I'm so surprised so few people are talking about it is the pressure on Nick Nurse. I mean, because if things aren't going well, something will leak that LeBron will point towards what the setup is on the floor.
Ignore the play
or
calls
Jaylen
Brown.
Brown.
Kind of thing.
Yeah.
Jaylen Brown could be a problem. LeBron's ready to share the ball. I'm not so sure.
Not enough ball to go around.
Yeah.
We know someone mutually that turns out is very close with the Celtics ownership. Very, very close. The new owner. And turns out, there was a lot there was a lot of math involved there. You know, all these things about the data and what's it going to cost. And, you know, like we talked about on the prior pod with, you know, the apron, the second apron and all this stuff. But there are definitely some ego issues and whether or not that was all working. It doesn't sound like they were that sad to see him go as an ownership, which is shocking to me. He's been a model citizen so far for 2 weeks. You know, look, I think while time is not on our side, time is of a benefit in that these guys are, even Maxey, they're veterans for the most part at this point. They know what they need to do. They have a job to do, and they're going to go out and do it. And they're going to figure out. The thing is, the five of them are not going to be on the court together that often. This gives a chance for Embiid to sit and LeBron even to play some center. This gives a chance for LeBron to sit, and Embiid ends up kind of playing more of a power forward role. People haven't even talked about the fact that Gansey also got Anthony Simons and KCP. Like, we have a real bench now. There's even talk that there's possibility that we'll add Drew Holiday. This is all going to come down to coaching and making all the pieces fit. But really, what I find so interesting about this LeBron story is how much it changes the fate of three teams. Forget about the Lakers, because we knew he was already gone from there pretty much. But the Cavs, the Heat, and the Warriors.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
The Warriors are over now, right?
Yeah,
I mean,
have to be.
They just re-signed Draymond. You saw that.
They did.
Draymond?
Yep.
Yeah.
Why?
I know, right? I mean,
So it's
going to
get
run
young.
it back again.
It's time for that team to get young.
By the way, interlude, breaking news, Foster Griffin traded. Told you it was
To
coming.
where? To where?
Cleveland, it looks like for 4 players. Not sure who yet. Back to basketball.
Guardians, they have the last wild card right now.
Back to hoops. Sorry, but breaking news.
So the Warriors, apparently that was the second choice for LeBron. It was never ever about the money. It was about getting this
Ownership.
4th championship.
It was
and he
ownership.
Couldn't get ownership. He couldn't get it. He couldn't get a 4th championship at Cleveland or Miami, which is an interesting little factoid there. He already had one. He already had one at Cleveland.
Right.
He already had one at Miami.
Right. Interesting.
And I think I don't think, again, I think Harden is poisoned to winning a championship. And I don't know that Giannis thing is going to be all it's cracked up to be. I don't know that you build a team. I know he's an MVP, not that many years removed. I just don't know that you still build a team around Giannis.
Well, I personally am incredibly excited for LeBron going to Philadelphia, because I don't see how this turns out badly for me personally. because either it's a crash and burn house and it's a crash and burn, or they win the championship and
you have a GOAT.
You've got to
argument.
sit there and acknowledge and fall in love with him. This is like Milk hating Brady until he came to Tampa. This is the same thing, and I am so excited for this season. I cannot wait to see how this plays out.
The thing though is Milk won't even admit that there was a day that he hated Brady.
No, I know.
And his love for him is so deep right now that
unfortunately we don't have receipts on that.
Pushed out of his mind.
Right. I'm not sure he doesn't even know that he hated Brady forever.
I have, this is interesting. The superstar reliever, Jeff Hoffman, has left for the Twins. Wow. I'm surprised. Toronto's making those kinds of moves too. I think they moved on from Varsho too.
They did. Yeah.
So I have my kids are going crazy. I have 3 sons, and my 23-year-old son, who moved just 4 months ago to New York to take a job, after LeBron news came out, he said, I needed to stand up and walk out of work. I couldn't deal with my excitement anymore. About 10 minutes later, he said, I think I need to move home. I'm serious. I think I need to move home. If LeBron's playing there, I need to see as many games as possible. He and his friends, by the way, have gone in, his fantasy football team, all of his local Philadelphia friends, have gone in and between the 12 of them bought a season ticket package.
One ticket?
2 tickets, and they're going to have a lottery to see who gets the games for those 2 games. It's pretty crazy. LeBron Mania has stormed. By the way, Jaylen Brown was like fun for a week, 2 weeks.
It's like an afterthought.
It's an afterthought.
I think he's going to like that.
Well, you better stock up on the shoe polish used for bald head market because they both need it.
All right.
Would you guys care if you got a superstar player at whatever age, and I don't know, whatever, he's from DC and decides to live in Philadelphia in helicopter? Would you care that if your superstar player didn't live in your city when he was playing there?
No.
Yeah.
Okay. So, some people are caring a little too much. I don't give a shit. He's going to live in New York. Who cares?
Who cares? Right.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, it's a little weird just from a convenience standpoint, but
I don't know. Does that mean he's all in?
he's all in.
I think he's all in.
He's all in. All right, let's move on. And I think we got to talk about this World Cup stuff, even though it seems like it's dead on arrival already. But we've got to talk about the complete sellout that FIFA almost went through.
What an own goal that would have been.
Right?
The own goal, total. This is all this is going to be is really an extended punch of Gianni Infantino. This guy, I mean, Jesus, you talk about hubris. Again, just like baseball, everything was going perfect for FIFA and World Cup. And he was riding high and just saw, like, this is like Lord of the Rings, and he's like Gollum. And like he just, the ring, my precious.
My precious.
My precious. He just like had to have more money. Let's put 64 teams in the thing. So he got together with Josh Kushner, who is Jared's brother, and was willing to sell off an equity stake in FIFA and the World Cup, including the World Cup, for, I don't know, billions of dollars. It was for 21% stake to Kushner for $4.25 billion.
It's even more
Corruption
diabolical.
has run amok.
It's so diabolical because my understanding is that FIFA's bylaws require it to be a nonprofit. So a few years ago, they spun up FIFA Media, which is the arm that owns the television rights and like the World Cup rights. So they like passed these assets off to this other entity that was for profit so that they could get around the FIFA bylaws.
Gross.
Yes, totally gross. Totally gross and totally 2026.
And you don't think that the fake prize that he created for President Trump had anything to do with this deal coming down the road?
Absolutely.
Of course it
Kushner?
did.
Absolutely.
The corruption is just out of control.
But it's
And
worldwide.
It is worldwide, but
But the good news
he needs to
is
go. That guy needs to go.
this is a win for European power, a win for the UEFA, the European Federation. UEFA was really the one. They basically said, we're taking all of our teams and we're boycotting the World Cup. And a couple other federations fell in behind, and then quickly he pulled it down last Friday. But here's what's kind of interesting. You can run right now for 3 terms. They're 4-year terms. He was unopposed in 2019, Infantino. He was unopposed in 2023. And he thought he would be unopposed for March 2027, which would include running up to the next World Cup. But now federations have already removed their endorsements. There's at least 2 that are removing their endorsements. The UEFA has sent him, we know this as lawyers, just for our audience, when you are preparing to maybe bring suit and you think someone's done something wrong and you don't want it to get thrown in the trash, you send a letter saying, hold on to everything. It's a litigation hold letter. UEFA has sent Infantino a litigation hold letter saying, don't throw away anything about
nice, a spoliation letter to Infantino.
So, I mean, I don't think this guy survives and makes the election in March of next year. And so we're going to see new leadership in FIFA probably. There's a guy who runs the CONCACAF, which is the federation that includes, the South American, North American federations. That guy is the current vice president of FIFA. He's likely to get it. It will be very interesting to see the direction that World Cup goes. Does it go to 64? What happens to the future places that are in line to get it?
Especially because CONCACAF was one of the organizations that said, we're not sending our teams to the World Cup if you do this.
Yeah, they followed Europeans' lead.
Right.
So see you later, Infantino. Early punch.
Well, and I'll say this. This might be the thing that makes me love soccer, because this in the Super League, from what was that, a year or 2 ago when all the champions teams tried to form a Super League. The fans really do control the sport. I mean, the blowback was so extraordinary that both of these things were stopped dead in their tracks. And the amount of money that was involved, it takes a lot to stop that kind of money dead in its tracks. That shows the power of the fans. That sport really does belong to the fans. All right. Who's got a punch?
I have a punch. So unfortunately, this past Saturday night in a Major League Soccer game in Montreal, it was between Montreal and the New England Revolution. And New England has a striker named Dor Turgeman. And Dor Turgeman happens to be a citizen of the nation of Israel. And Montreal and the nation of Canada has got a really rampant anti-Semitism problem going on right now. So as happens sometimes after someone's being taunted all game, whether it's baseball or whatever the sport is, he'd been taunted the whole game and he scored the game-winning goal. And he, kind of turned to the fans to say like, I got you. I scored the goal. The fans were screaming at him, death to Israel. The goalie for the Montreal team, Sebastian Breza, tackled him to the ground just because he was taunting the fans back, saying like, take it in your face. Look, we'll say it for the umpteenth time here. Sports is for sports. Like should be what brings us together. These players on the field, almost all of them, these players on the field, for the most part, they just want to kick a soccer ball, swing a baseball bat, throw a basketball, hit a hockey puck, whatever it is. They're not the leaders of the government. They're not taking sides on, so like fans, we've punched fans before. I'm punching the fans and the Montreal organization. The Montreal has come out and apologized. Major League Soccer has made some great statements. New England Revolution has made some great statements. I think you'll hear some more about it. But like, can we just keep things on the playing field, on the pitch? Like whatever other political protests you want to do once you leave the stadium, go for it. That isn't the place to do it. So punch to the the fans of the Montreal, whatever they are.
I'm going to add to that
damn
punch. of the
Canadians.
Yeah.
Can't trust
Yeah.
I'm
them.
going to add to that punch of the fans. And it's not just Canadian fans. I mean, this is a hot button issue right now in North America. And look, if you're going to get all upset about this issue, for God's sakes, at least read a goddamn history book and know what you're talking about, and stop getting all fired up by TikTok bullshit where you don't even know what you're talking about, and you're taking it out on this poor guy just playing soccer. I mean,
It was weird.
Just grow up, for Christ's sakes.
All right. Any other punches? Who's got a lasso? I've got a small one. Not a big deal. Another homer lasso, but it was a nice story. Max Scherzer came back off of the injured list for Toronto on Tuesday and was able to make his 100th start at Nats Park. So it was his 100th start in Nationals Park. And he just came off the IL. You know, he only pitched, I think, 2 1/3 innings or something. But, you know, probably the last time he's going to pitch in Nationals Park in his career. Got a really nice reception, both when he took the mound and when he came off. And there was some really nice posts by his wife, actually, of the kids around town and in the stands and all the warm accolades that he got. So it was kind of cool to see that a guy who's
nice.
just on his last leg and got to be.
What was the longest team he was with? The Tigers or who?
Yeah, I don't know the answer to that, but I know that if you add up all the other teams, he was on a different team other than the Nats longer, right? So I don't know that he was with any other one team longer than the Nats, and certainly most of his highlights, you know, 2 Cy Youngs, 20 strikeout game, World Series, that was all with Washington.
Is there any rumor as to what he would choose to go into the Major League Baseball Hall of Fame?
The rumors are that people are very unclear,
Mhm.
you know, so. You know, it might be one of those things where he goes in with no logo. But anyway, that was just a little lasso. I guess another lasso is that Ted Lasso starts back this week.
Wednesday,
Yeah.
season 4.
Yeah. All right. Any other lassos? All right. Buzzer beaters. Who's got a buzzer?
I have a quick one. The 49ers are in trouble again. You know, they couldn't figure out what they were doing with Ayuk, and he's gone. And now Ricky Pearsall's out for the season with a PCL. I mean, they got Deebo Samuel back, thinking that he was going to be like a, you know, 4th or 5th option slot guy. He may be their best wide receiver right now.
Is Ayuk gone? Or is he still on the roster?
I think so.
He is not under contract.
He's not under contract with
and
them.
they have no plans of signing him.
Okay, so his contract expired whenever the new season officially started. Okay.
And by the way, they've got a coach who's really, really, really beat up from an accident, very mysterious accident. He's come out and acknowledged it's his fault. What that fault was and what he was doing, I don't know that we're going to find out, but he's really messed up for a while.
Bad car wreck, right?
Yeah, he said he was looking at his phone. He took his eyes off the road, drifted. Sounds on its face like that's okay.
All right. What other buzzers we got?
I have a buzzer and a mailbag. The buzzer
bag.
The buzzer is congrats to U.S. men's national team and Mauricio Pochettino. This is great news for U.S. soccer. If they're going to turn into something, this is going to be how they have to do it. They now have continuity for another 4 years. They've got their coach for all of the cups that happen between now and the next World Cup, and they've got their coach for qualifying and for World Cup. He's a world-class coach who did a great job with this last team. Way to go, Poch.
So, House, is it true he is not going to be able to coach any other league teams, right? He's just U.S. men's.
He'd have to quit his job. I mean, that's happened before. I don't think he's going to do that. Like, if all of a sudden, you know, this year, I don't know, whatever, Liverpool's coach just can't turn it around and Liverpool becomes available, I guess Poch could be lured out of it. But
he'd have to resign as men's coach.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. All right. He's given me permission. In fact, he's requested that I use his name on the mailbag. But it turns out that we have a Canadian listener who oftentimes is our hockey correspondent, and it sounds like he'd like to be. It sounds like he'd like to be our golf correspondent. He's very upset about the Open coverage, and he has the following to say. He said, "This is Scotty Scheffler played incredible on Sunday to finish with I don't know, with 23 shots off. He was -7, and Pope's criticizing Scheffler for not making a putt. I don't know what golf Pope was watching, but you ain't finishing third in a major without playing really well. Golf is hard." And absolutely put it in the mailbag. That secondly, I take a lot of offense to the underwhelming comment, just because it isn't the big name that wins, and you'd be pissed off at the big one every single time. It's not underwhelming. It's golf. That's just the sport. That's what makes it exciting. And underwhelming isn't Wyndham Clark's second U.S. Open that he won. What is he watching? My ranting is done.
I heard that same rant in Chicago.
I think I heard it too somewhere.
He was on fire.
Moose, you can just STF you, buddy. When Scotty Scheffler sets the standard as the number one golfer in the world, and he doesn't live up to that, I can be fucking critical of him. He's okay with that.
Pope had a one-on-one with Scheffler, and he said it was all right.
Well, I mean, I know where he lives.
I
know where he plays.
I think Moose he really wants a piece of the golf commentary.
Oh, he's angling.
He's a wrong way to interview for the job, buddy.
Yeah, it is.
You better sleep with one eye open, Pope.
Yeah, I know.
Moose is after you.
I hear he likes tennis too.
Oh boy.
All right. Any other buzzer beaters or mailbags or anything else? All right, guys.